Welcome back to A People's Guide to Publishing. I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing and Distribution. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 25 years.
I'm Ellie Blue. I'm the editorial and marketing director here at Microcosm. We are an independent mid-list publisher based in Portland, Oregon. We have 14 employees, over 650 titles in print with 20 to 40 new books per year, and we distribute thousands of titles from other publishers.
We started this podcast so that we can share what we've learned with newer publishers so that you can learn from our mistakes.
Or maybe you just want to understand the publishing industry.
This week we have two special guests who are both authors and publishers. Jessica Mullen and Kelly Cree of the School of Life Design. And I would say, what do you think of as your landmark book that you've written together?
I think the monthly manifestation manual.
It's the one.
Yeah.
What a beauty.
The flagship.
I mean, that's the one I think of, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe you see it differently.
So far.
Right. Still young.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this book is coming out right around now from Microcosm, officially published, but it existed long before we came into the picture. Can you tell us the story of this book and how it came to be? Go back as far as you need to, childhood or before.
Okay, so I was born in Illinois.
Good work.
So was Jessica. Yeah. I think it really started when Jessica was in grad school for design at University of Texas. And that's when we started learning about law of attraction. And after she graduated, neither of us were very interested in pursuing further the higher education academia world.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, let's make our own school. And what should the school be about? Well, what do we care about? At that time, it was law of attraction. You know, now, like, law of attraction, I don't know, it kind of makes me feel almost slimy even saying it. But, I mean, our work has come a long way since then. But that is what got us interested in these ideas. And so that's what we were interested in. That's what we wanted to learn about. So we started making these little worksheets, you know, coming from a graphic design background. That was the thing that we knew how to make, was printed publications. We started making these little worksheets and, kind of just like very disparate exercises, and just trying to basically evangelize our friends with them. And
we would have people over to drink and be like, okay, do this worksheet and tell us if you feel better. And they did. They did start, we would draw together and party, and then fill out these little worksheets, like a status meeting, like what's going well in your job. And it would start directing the conversation in a positive manner. And it did really help us start focusing more on what was going well in our lives. And after a few months of creating these worksheets and blogging, we had a friend who asked us, I like all your worksheets, but I don't know when to do them. What's the system? How do you keep it together? What am I supposed to do?
I don't know which one to do at what time or what day. It's like, it's too overwhelming. There's so much choice. And so we were like, okay, well, let's make like a planner and put them all together.
It started as a cute little binder of printed worksheets, and we're like, do you like this? It's called the fun file.
We were really trying.
The fun file, yes.
The fun file. And the fun file became the manifestation manual. And we took all our exercises, and we had a 2-week retreat house sitting for my parents, where we blew the first week drinking. And then the second week, we were like, you know what? Let's make this book. We need to finish this. We really need to focus. And that was the opportunity where we just banged them out, all the drawings in a few days. And then the writing was a little slower, but we launched, I think we sent it to print January 1st, 2015.
Ah,
Okay.
And
that
with
was my first day at Microcosm also, by the way.
Was it really?
Yeah.
well,
That's magical.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Wow.
I know, right? A lot of things happening.
You manifested Ellie.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We sure did.
Yeah.
I knew
Well.
there was a reason for it all. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks for that. That was great. Okay, so like, and and I take your point. It's like you sometimes have like some unsavory influences or whatever, but like you made it your own thing, and like you recovered and owned that, and like you can take parts of something and reject other parts. That's like
Yeah.
part of making something, and I think like everybody has influences even if they don't acknowledge them. So good on you for owning that one. But like, so like, how did you make it your own?
insofar as the ideas behind law of attraction, or
Like all of it. Like there's lots of people that work in this kind of field and like have their own ideas and theories and worksheets. So like, what's special about you two?
I would say overarchingly it's the integration of art and I won't call it psychology or spirituality or maybe mysticism. So the integration of art and mysticism, the ways in which the visual metaphor pushes further the idea that the user is learning that day. And in that way, you're sort of implanting also, you're learning visually at the same time.
Right. Something that really was important to me was like these concepts, the concept your thoughts create your reality. Okay, you can accept that, but then how do you do it? What is the practice? And putting the concepts into graphic images made it more like a diagram or something more clear that explained what exactly was happening in your mind that you can't see.
And also like a creative outlet for our artistic type people like ourselves. Like we like to draw, we like the feeling of the pen on the paper. We like the creative opportunity that it gives, because the exercises are really open-ended and they ask the user to come up with solutions on their own. And that was a really important aspect for us, is not telling people what to think, but inviting them to think in a way that might help them feel better.
That's one of the things I really love about your books. I've used a few of them, and actually one of my favorite things that I feel like no other book offers, and don't want to give away the secret sauce here, is that you have all these little opportunities to doodle, and I really like doodling. Helps me think so much. So when I'm like, how do I want to feel today, like I can like color in some like little circles in a pattern, and then that like helps me know more than like if I just had to sit and think or go for a walk or something.
Yes,
So
I agree.
I was wondering, like, so all of your books are such a great combination of like art and like text or ideas. Like, what is your collaboration style? Like, do you both do both? Is one of you more the words person, one of you more the art person? How does that all come together?
Tell her how you did it the other day
What?
when you made something ugly.
Oh, yeah, that's my current best technique, is to make something that I know she'll hate so that she'll be like inspired to like be like, no.
That's good.
And then I don't even say anything. I just leave it open on my computer and just wait for her to see it and be like, oh no.
But we usually our work comes from our life experience, so we'll have problems and then we'll gradually talk about them, try to figure it out, work through our issues together, whether it's between us or whether it's about health, money, love, whatever. And then we'll start thinking, like, we'll talk about how, oh, well, I use this technique, and as soon as I did this, my problem solved itself. And then that's the seed of a worksheet or an exercise. And then Kelly will say, how can we turn this into a worksheet? What's the image what's a visual metaphor? And then we both start messing around with visual metaphors, and we try to get a concept before going too far with art. And then lately we've been really, like, we used to do everything by hand drawing on the Flower of Life grid for our graphics. And now we're really more focused on using AI generated art because it's so fun.
So wait, how do you do that? Do you have like prompts you put in where you're like, create a worksheet to help you feel better about yourself? Or
Usually, well, we'll have to get the visual metaphor first, and then tell it to make that thing, whatever that thing is. Yeah, it's fun. It's a new challenge.
It's not necessarily faster than hand drawing at all. It takes a long time to speak the language.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about it too. Or I was like, because it's like, to me, I'm like, okay, what's the concept? Like, what's a visual execution of that concept? Like, how do you, and then you do it and you're like, yes, but no, it doesn't actually work because nobody's going to take that from this image, like start over. Or you like see it in thumbnail and you're like, oh, nope, never mind. It doesn't work. And so that was kind of my first thought. I was like, well, that wouldn't necessarily be faster, but I can see how it'd be like way more fun.
Yeah. It's thrilling. It's like playing the lottery. Like, you run a prompt and you could go through hours and hours of prompts and the images are okay. And then you hit the jackpot of something so beautiful that it makes my head tingle.
Yeah.
And that's what we work for.
So you're more like the curator of a classroom full of young AIs.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Nurturing, raising them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're our friends for sure.
I love that.
Indoctrinating them.
So, not to roll out a big surprise for our audience, but you've been working on a new book. Is that how? Or 60?
Yeah, right. A few, yeah.
Is that, and you've been working on a cover for this said book. So is that how you came up with that image?
Yes.
Did you use the AI? Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So
that might be our first AI cover that we know about.
That we're aware of.
Right.
You gotta wonder sometimes what some designers are doing. But so what was that? So what was that process like?
Well, it's similar because you still have to have the idea first. Yeah. And we've learned a lot from working with y'all about, what a commercially viable cover is gonna look like. And so that has helped a lot. And so this time we really wanted to do something so super simple and really on the nose. And so then it was just a matter of taking a really on the nose object and figuring out how to make that on brand for us.
Ooh, I like it that you've also given away nothing about this as yet unreleased cover. Which good work.
Careful, it might make it into the podcast edit.
Well, we'll see what happens, But yeah, that's like, and I think about that, I mean, maybe just because like this is half of my job is to like walk people through this, to be like, your concept is great, but nobody is going like, but it looks like a novel is kind of the thing I say the most often. Or you're like, yes, but your thing, it's like, people normally just have it's the same stuff you've probably encountered, say, in design school, where you like can't have 50 elements or concepts on a cover,
Right. Yeah. And it is a challenge finding a way to visually represent like the essence of your ideas in one image.
Right.
Yeah. And it's hard. I mean, it's been definitely a challenge to come up with titles for your books because they're so like, it's like, I just imagine like this very elaborate spider web of concepts. And then how do you like compress that down into like one short title that actually gets it across? It's hard to do. Yeah. Maybe the AI could help with that though.
Oh.
Believe me, we try.
I
Yeah.
have to play with this though.
Yeah. It did help though when we were ideating on the new title, just to try different take this paragraph and make it into a concise title, and then even if you don't like the language, it's a way to like
It'll pull out
yeah,
words that you
like, oh, I
wouldn't
like
have
that
thought
word.
of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, well, it's good that the AI can't totally replace us.
No,
It's so
it's
dumb.
not. It's very smart.
It's not.
It's not nearly as smart as, I don't know, people want it to be. I don't know.
There's a blog I adore called AI Weirdness, by the way, that I highly recommend that you check out. The author, Janelle Shane, has been working on running absurd scenarios through AIs, like getting them to come up with recipes and like different new kinds of Halloween candy, messages on sugar hearts, that kind of thing. It's so good. Names for cats. You can spend a lot of happy time in her archives.
Very fun. That sounds very fun.
I mean, and there was this is some years ago, but it was like the two of the jobs that I will never forget that it said that robotics could never replace were editor, dental surgeon.
That's the one thing those jobs have in common.
But I love editor, you know, because I think
True.
it exactly makes the point where you're just like, yeah, you just can't spit out crap and call it good.
No.
No. Someone's got to have judgment.
Yeah. Yes.
There has to be
No
there.
judgment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, but that, you know, and so like that's, and I, you know, but I think you're right. I think it's like you creating, like, it's a starting point. You're figuring out like, oh yeah. And then, you know, which is like kind of how I think about it, where like we go to experienced salespeople or we go to major account buyers and we're like, what do you think? And then almost always they will say, well, you're too close to this because you like missed the most obvious thing that it should or should not be, you know. And then we're like, oh yeah, right. You know, and so, you know, you get better with that over say like 28 years, but like, you know, there's still moment, you know, if it's like something just outside of what we've done a lot of, then we'll like make mistakes, you know, or we'll like have blind spots, I guess.
Yes.
Like an AI.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Or are
like,
they like us?
oh yeah, that's a good point. So like, what is your greatest goal that you are trying to accomplish with your work?
I would say just to like achieve the things that we profess are possible in our books. The number one being like, I wouldn't call it enlightenment, but a sense of peace and security in my life that doesn't have anything to do with external circumstances.
Yeah, my definition of success is presence. And so the more our work helps me personally achieve presence, the more successful I feel. And that's all. There's no future goal. There's no metric to measure by other than, do I feel good now? Am I here now? Yes or no?
What about when everybody's present though? Like, won't you have like well, I guess you'll make new goals.
And they'll just come. They'll just unfold.
Yeah.
It's just not up to me.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
You'll just be operating in a realm of pure art.
Right. In clouds.
With the
AI
AI.
generated clouds.
You'll be one with the AI. Not to bring this back down to like completely brass tacks, boring pop. So this is, you know, a podcast for publishers, and a lot of publishers listen to this, and authors and people in the world. And you all have this like amazing experience of sort of building this very unusual and unique and successful publishing company from scratch. And I was wondering if you could talk about that. Like, how did you go from like January 1st, 2015, you were like, we made this book, to like suddenly you have like 40 books, 50 books, you have distribution, you're like out there in the world doing different kinds of partnerships. Yeah, like what was it like to build that?
I don't know, like kind of accidental.
The best things are.
Well, okay. And there was this Grateful Dead documentary where Jerry said, don't try to do anything with the Grateful Dead. Like, don't try to force it to be anything. Don't try to direct it too much. And that we watched that in like 2018 maybe, but that's kind of our attitude. Like, don't try to force anything and just let it unfold, but also take a step every single day. Never give up. But you have to be open to, like, you can't expect your first book to make you a millionaire. You can't. Well, you can if you can. Let me not naysay, but you just have to be like so patient, and true. Relaxed about it, and just keep trying, and don't get discouraged, and just keep taking one step every day.
The way that we started was when we first made the monthly manifestation manual. Our friend was like, you should come to my pop-up at this bar I'm doing. It's like a like a pop-up shop or whatever. What do you call it? Like a
pop-up market.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were like, yeah. And then we just started doing that. And then more people were like, this is good. And then we were like, okay, it's good. Let's try this. And then we learned a lot just from popping up, like about sales, how to talk about the work. We didn't have a clue how to even talk about the work.
We were so scared.
And so learning how to sell, learning what the demand is. And then, meeting people with the same ideas, people who were like, oh, come to a workshop. So we're like, okay, well, let's make a publication to go with the workshop. Or, as time went on, we got sick of the monthly manifestation manual. So we're like, we need something better for us. And so make another one. And
that's part of the thing, is that we make these resources for ourselves. We make them because we are suffering and we need help. So as soon as I'll do a journal every day for a couple years, and then one day that's the last time I'm ever going to fill out that journal, and I need something new right now.
So your peers, it's a peer-oriented.
Yeah, your peers. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we should have pushed that one last week. Well, now we know. That was the National Peer Conference was last week.
Peer apocalypse.
Okay. I didn't quite understand what peer apocalypse meant, but now I get it more.
It means that instead of you being like experts extolling your wisdom on the plebes, you're like, you're like one of the people that would use your thing,
That's why we stopped doing workshops, actually, because we felt like this teacher-student dynamic, it just didn't fit for us, and it was so difficult and challenging for us to guide a workshop as the teacher when we felt like the student.
Right.
I mean, that's part of the reason, but
that's part of it.
And so that might be like an interesting paradigm for you. They came out of the state mental hospital program and recovery program. So it's people that went through recovery teaching recovery rather than a therapist.
Someone with a degree in recovery.
Okay.
Yeah. Or somebody that can't ever tell you about their own life or whatever, So right. It's, and then the first, and Ellie and I did the event I don't know how many, a bunch of years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And then we set up, and then within the first 5 minutes, people came up and they're like, oh, you're peer publishers. Cool. And then, and we were like, oh yeah, I guess we are.
Yeah.
Which is it never, which was both being accepted, which was awesome, but more than that, it was language to understand how we were different from other people, you know, or other publishers in this case.
Yeah.
But that, so that's so what are the what are your peer groups, or who do you consider to be a organization that you have affinity with?
Oh,
I only ask hard questions. I apologize.
Organizations aren't really.
We talk to our one friend on Zoom once a week, and he's
who we work with a lot is there's a group that donates books to like the prison systems. It's called like Appalachian.
Prison Project.
And I would say that's an organization that we align with.
Oh, and AA.
Yeah, but
I mean, people who are in AA have taken donations of our books and handed them out to their AA meetings, and it's been very successful in that
Awesome.
community.
yes,
Right.
I would
could
say
see that. Go ahead.
people in AA tend to like our work, but I wouldn't say that I'm endorsing AA.
Right. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. You all are basically, I feel like the peers are your people.
Yeah, that might be the place to hang out. They might be, yeah, you might find all the people that you like relate with.
Do you want to come to Seaside, Oregon next year?
Yeah, the other one that used to be there was a East Coast one, but it's kind of like between homes right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it'll be back. Though they were talking about Las Vegas, which sounds even worse. But but yeah, so like okay, that's yeah. So but like what is it? Yeah, I guess like you've kind of created a place where because of the values and views that you hold, you're sort of like rejecting of like establishment sort of systems and organizations, huh?
Many of them, yes.
Mhm.
That's
Okay. That's not a bad thing. I mean, me too.
right. Yeah, it takes one to know one, right?
The only club that I've ever tried to join wouldn't have me, and that was I tried to be a fitness instructor for Les Mills, which is what our workout program that we follow. That's our workout people is Les Mills, and I tried out to be a fitness instructor. I loved it so much, and I really wanted to do it, and they said no. You are not a fit. You do not have the moves. You do not have the rhythm.
No.
So that was I don't know. It was a good thing. It ended up working out for me, but that's an example of an organization that I look to but won't have me.
They saw that you marched to the beat of your own drummer.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a great way to put it.
I think that sort of became our motto, which was any group that would accept us, we wouldn't want to be a part of.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you end up in a cult, you know? So better off this way.
Yeah, that's why we made our own cult.
Yeah. One of the books is titled The Cult of Counting.
Oh, the Cult of Counting. Yeah, are there other books or things that you've published that you're like extra excited about? Like do you have kind of a favorite other than the monthly manifestation manual? A second favorite?
Well, the journal right now that we've released, To Whom Is This Journal Arising, that came out we published it in November, and I will be honest that when we publish a journal, I haven't done it yet, so I need to do the journal myself.
It's a comp.
Yeah, it's a comp. It is a comp. And so I started it in November, and it's a year-long journal, so it's been 6 months since I started it, and I really love it, and I love working in it, and I see a lot of places for change, but it's our best work for sure.
I was gonna say I really like one of our zines called Miracle Collection.
Mm-hmm.
And even just thinking about my collection of miracles is really inspiring to me. And the concept is about how miracles are commonplace when you look for them. And it's like a trading card collection, but for different categories of miracles. And just thinking about it makes me happy because it reminds me, like, yeah, when I'm whatever I'm on the lookout for, I'll see.
I bet you get some incredible fan mail.
Oh, we do. We do
Yeah,
get some
you're
good
right.
fan mail. We do.
You know, I mean, it does seem to stem from like when you do something that is meaningful, other people tend to find it meaningful, and then they tell you, and then so like Faith and I Faith Harper, one of our most popular authors,
Mhm.
she and I joke that like fan mail is like 50% requests for free consulting and like 50% trauma narratives.
Yeah.
Do you find this is proportionate to your fan mail?
Well, don't forget the percentage of editorial correction.
Oh, yep. Every typo you ever make, you will get a letter about it at least.
See, I just throw those away so they don't count.
You're right, because they're not really fan.
They're fans of themselves.
Yeah.
I always appreciate it. We had one person who would send in like a careful copy edit of every single book we published, and we finally were like, "Would you like to do this before the books go to print?" And he was our volunteer copy editor for many years.
That's
Mhm.
wonderful.
Before they go to print.
Hmm. Yeah. So, but that's like, that's the thing of it. It's like, and I don't begrudge people for, making it about themselves. Like I totally, especially when like the things that we make are about them also, so it's like, it's kind of just like they're noticing that. But like, are there things that have surprised you that have been the takeaways of the fans?
I guess going back to the prisons, we were really surprised when we started getting like requests, like people within the prison system saying that they had been passing out our worksheets and photocopying them, and because the photocopy was so destroyed, could we please send a fresh copy of the PDF for them? Stuff like that. We're like, of course,
Whatever you
want.
Right.
So no, I mean, I don't feel like we really get a lot of like trauma dumping. It's mostly just like the work has really helped me, and I don't know. It's all really touching, honestly.
Yeah, to feel like we've empowered someone to deal with their own problem instead of having to ask for help. They can go within and get the help they need from within.
Yeah. Which is kind of your whole point. So it's good that they noticed that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, this shit works. We should just like use our own words.
We have that epiphany regularly that, oh my God, this works. Try this.
Like trying to edit a product or something and then reading the description and then being like, that's good.
That's a good idea.
Right. Who came up with this stuff?
And that is part of the issue we have is like there's so many tricks you can play with your mind to enjoy your life experience better. And I do really love trying to organize them, making them into a system, making them into a schedule or a plan. And I can't force it too much because that's not the route, but you forget how well these things work. And then that's why I like to do a journal every day to remind me, yes, you have the power in you. You have a choice. Take 5 minutes to think about what you want and what you want to focus on, and it will really make a difference.
Right. Yeah. Do you have I don't mean to sound as skeptical as I probably do. So what's next? Like, what do you want to accomplish now that you've accomplished all of this?
Well, we signed up to make a lot more materials, so I think
Do you want to entice them a bit?
yeah, absolutely. We're very excited about what's right now known as the Oracle of I Am.
Yes.
Which is an oracle deck forthcoming based on Jessica Mullen's guided breath meditations, which if you go to her YouTube channel, you'll find hundreds of free guided breath meditations. Very popular channel, very helpful channel. And so that deck is going to be based on those guided breath meditations. It's going to be a very unique deck in that it has basically the instructions on every card, which you don't find very often, in an oracle deck. It'll usually just be a picture, maybe a phrase, and then you're meant to intuit something from that, or you have to go to a separate guidebook to get the meaning. And what's so good about this deck is that not only is it right there, but it's also a short guided breath meditation. So we both use it and find it very effective. And we're also going to be releasing another Oracle deck, which is based on the exercises from the Monthly Manifestation Manual from our other title on Microcosm, the Monthly Magical Record, and also including exercises which are forthcoming in our new title coming out next spring.
Which also has a title.
Okay, yes. I don't know.
You can give it away.
You can do your reveal.
That journal is called Be It to See It. It's in the same vein as the Monthly Manifestation Manual and the Monthly Magical Record with daily exercises. It's a 31-day open-ended planner, and we're also very excited about that. And a couple other things that are kind of still in the works. I guess I could say we're going to make something about sobriety, something related to
The concept of sobriety. Yeah.
We're super excited about that one.
Yeah.
Whatever format it might take.
Yes, that's true. We mentioned earlier a lot in the podcast how much time and energy we used to waste drinking. So we're excited to write about that evolution. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That, yeah,
Excellent.
much of my 90s went that way as well. But here we are,
Yes.
living on our best lives, being it, seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like all of your books are, I believe every one of your books is like workbook format. Have you ever considered not making the reader write the book? Have you ever considered writing the book?
Kind of like a disc joke.
Well, like we discussed before, it's a collaboration among peers.
Oh, that should have been my first question.
Yeah, the reader's not doing all the work there. You got to get the framework.
Well, we have a couple titles that are just guided meditations.
Right. Okay.
Too much work there.
And actually, our first book was based off of blog posts on my blog from maybe 2012, and it's called Doing, Thinking, Feeling, Being, and it's little bite-size tips on conscious living. And that was fun to write, but I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Actually, I think I'm gonna start writing fiction.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah.
What are you gonna write? What are you gonna write about?
Just like the same ideas, but fictionalized and funny, and like also sort of like semi-autobiographical.
Yeah, that's my biggest wish, is to write memoir style without what do you call it, ruining my relationships. That's what I really want to do, is write about my personal life, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that.
Worksheets might be a little safer.
Yeah, right.
Respect it. It's like it is almost harder to create something that's like that interactive, because then you have to like think about all the ways that somebody might react to it, and like all the ways they might interpret, misinterpret, like have had a very different lived experience in some which way. You know, so like, I mean, I think it's cool. It's just like we're living in the era of like the, what do you call it, low content publications, and like people think of it as like you design a cover and you're done, you know, whereas like your things are like highly interactive, like they're very thoughtful, and you're like essentially putting someone into your paradigm, which like I love. You know, I can see how. So just to put that out there for our audience, this is like substantive.
Yes, it is very substantive.
It is. Some of the most substantive. So I have a final question that is about something completely different. So one thing that we have in common with you is Cleveland. Joe's from there. Microcosm has offices there. You all live in Cleveland. Do you have any like Cleveland recommendations for our listeners who might be planning to visit your lovely city, or who maybe live there? Greatest hits of Cleveland, according to Kelly and Jessica.
the number one coolest thing that we love right now in Cleveland is the Port of Cleveland. There's a trail that goes from Edgewater Park to Whiskey Island. And if you walk down that trail, you can watch iron ore pellets being loaded and unloaded off of barges. And it is our favorite pastime right now. I highly, highly recommend it.
You won't find that in any travel book, everybody.
It's unlikely. I was surprised. I talked to a therapist yesterday, and he said that he goes to Cleveland regularly for work, which I was like, wow, I've never heard somebody that is not like an experimental cancer surgeon or something who like goes to Cleveland for work,
Yes.
And that was like, that was kind of fascinating. I didn't probe too much, so I don't have a lot more information, but I was like, whoa, that's wild. He thought I like lived there still. So Cleveland is really into rebranding itself. Like it really likes to be like, we're the North Coast now, or the land, or so. Like, it seems like you would have like big ideas for how to rebrand Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
I think they should bring back the A in the word Cleveland.
Really?
Yes. I think it's
Pretty good.
misrepresentational that they just cut out a letter out of the word.
There's that.
Take note, everybody.
Okay. Maybe you could put some design prototypes together and we can get that happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then we did buy a second warehouse in Cleveland. What should we name it?
Oh, yeah.
Where is it?
It's right next door to our existing one.
Cool.
And it's blue.
Are you familiar with the chicken salad joke from the West 85th Street Deli?
No.
I mean East. Well, anyway, you would have to know.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
okay.
explain it.
It's just like this lady on TikTok, and she goes to this deli on like East 89th and Superior or something, and she's eating a chicken salad. It's hard to explain.
But I really put Cleveland on the map on TikTok.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We just call it the chicken salad building.
Okay.
Another Cleveland meme about this car running on 3 AAA batteries. And it could be something related to that. Maybe 3 AAA batteries, or maybe chicken salad.
Those are excellent entries into the name contest. Thank you.
I like that you know more than we do. That's great. You've like adopted your adopted home.
Yeah,
We have, yeah.
We love it. We
We
love
do love it.
Cleveland. I don't
Yay.
think anyone else should move here.
Please
but
don't move here. Let's start it now. Do
yeah,
not move
don't
here.
Ooh.
This place is really nice.
No, it's such horrible. It's ugly. Don't move here.
Ooh.
Mhm.
I see this is going into the rebranding, a little self-sabotage.
Right. Okay. Got it. You know that whenever you say don't do something, people.
Oh, you're right. You've been reading our books too much.
You've been like, why not? Well, you sure? But, well, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. It was really fun. Thank you for having us.
We'll look forward to making many books with you in the very near future.
Yes.
And in the meantime, everybody read the monthly manifestation manual and the monthly magical record. Or don't read it, write it.
Right.
Right.
Collaborate with these two fine individuals on these books.
Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
On Twitter at Microcosm,
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
on Instagram at Microcosm_pub.
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.